All right, let's talk about something that honestly trips up so many people. A fear that can actually make you second guess a promotion. Will a pay rise somehow leave you with less money in your pocket? We are going to get to the bottom of this once and for all.
This is the big one, right? You get offered that new job, that pay bump, and it pushes you into a higher tax bracket. And suddenly, you panic. Should I even take it? Will I actually be poorer? It's a huge question, but let me just cut to the chase. The answer is a big, fat no. And today, we're going to show you exactly why.
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to start from the ground up. Before we even think about tax rates and brackets, we need to talk about the chunk of your money that the taxman can't even touch. This is the bedrock of the whole UK income tax system. Here it is, the single most important number in UK income tax. £12,570. Just burn that number into your brain. Think of it as your yearly head start. Now, this magic number has an official name. It's your personal allowance. You can think of it like a tax-free bubble that protects the first part of your salary. It doesn't matter where the money comes from, your job, a pension, whatever. This is the amount you get to keep, every single penny, before the tax conversation even begins. So let's be super clear here. On this first slice of your income, you pay absolutely zero tax. Nothing. Nada. It's that simple. But what happens the second you earn just £1 over that amount? Okay, now this is where people's heads start to spin, right? The idea of tax brackets sounds really complicated and scary, but the way it works is actually pretty logical once you see it laid out. So let's do that. So, to make this really simple to understand, let's bring in a friend. Meet Alex. Alex just got a little pay rise and now earns £13,570 a year. Now, if you're paying attention, you'll see that's exactly £1,000 over the personal allowance. So, how much tax does Alex actually pay? Okay, look at this. This little table shows you the golden rule of income tax. You do not get taxed on your entire salary. You only pay tax on the bit that's above your personal allowance. See? We take Alex's full earnings, we subtract that tax-free £12,570, and that leaves just £1,000 that's actually taxable. And at the basic rate of 20%, that means Alex pays just £200 in tax. And I'm going to say that again because this is the bit that busts the myth completely. Every single time you cross into a new tax bracket, you only pay that new higher tax rate on the slice of your money that's actually in that bracket. Everything you earned before that is still taxed at the lower rates, or not at all. And hey, you don't have to just take my word for it. The money-saving expert himself, Martin Lewis, puts it perfectly and simply. Earn more, you will take home more. A pay rise will never make you poorer. Ever. Full stop. So this is basically what the tax ladder looks like for most of us in the UK. You've got your 0% tax-free bit at the bottom, then you climb up to the 20% basic rate. Then, if you earn enough, you hit the 40% higher rate, and finally the 45% rate for the very top slice. It all seems pretty straightforward, right? A nice, steady climb, but there's a really weird quirk in the system. Yeah, because once you hit that six-figure salary mark, something very funny happens to our nice, simple ladder. The rules kind of get thrown out the window, and this very strange, very expensive little trap appears. So what is this bizarre thing that happens? Well, remember that lovely tax-free personal allowance we talked about? That $12,570 foundation for everything? Well, it starts to melt away. Here's how it works, step by step. The moment your salary ticks over 100 grand, the government starts clawing back your personal allowance. For every £2 you earn over that line, they take £1 of your tax-free allowance away. And by the time you're earning £125,140, poof, it's completely gone. And the result of this? It is kind of mind-blowing, actually, because in this specific income zone, you end up paying an effective tax rate of 60%. And here's why. You're paying the 40% higher rate on your new earnings. That makes sense. But you're also now paying 40% tax on the bit of your personal allowance that you just lost. Put those two together, and it means for every extra pound you earn in this band, you only actually see 40p of it. Okay, that was a lot to take in. We've gone through the basics, we've busted that big myth, and we've uncovered this weird trap in the system. So let's put it all together now and look at the complete tax map for the UK. So here it is, the full journey. You can see that steady climb, 0% up to 20, up to 40, and then bam, you hit that bizarre 60% effective tax cliff we just talked about. And then funnily enough, the rate actually drops back down to 45% for the highest earners. It is, to put it mildly, a very quirky system. Now, for our final piece of the puzzle. You've probably noticed that the headline tax rates haven't really changed for a while. And yet, a lot of us feel like we're paying more tax. How is that possible? Well, it's all down to a quiet, almost invisible force known as a stealth tax. The official name for it is fiscal drag. And what it means is that the government has basically hit the pause button on all those tax thresholds we've been talking about, instead of letting them rise with inflation like they're supposed to. So, normally, as you can see here, those tax brackets are supposed to move up as wages go up, just to keep things fair. But right now, they're frozen solid. And that means even a small pay rise, one that's just meant to help you keep up with prices, can be enough to push you over a frozen threshold and into paying more tax. And this has some really big consequences for you. It means millions of people are being silently dragged into paying income tax for the first time or into a higher bracket without any big announcement. It's a sneaky way for the government to get more tax money, and it means your pay rise doesn't go nearly as far as it should. So there you have it. A pay rise will always mean more money in your pocket. But as we've seen, the journey that money takes through the tax system is far from simple. It's filled with these weird traps and stealthy effects that hit all of us, which really leaves us with just one big question. The system is clearly complex, but does it really have to be?